Hi everyone, go ahead and write the following on your notes, and then whenever you're done, come back and let's talk about it. So pause the video now. Okay, the first notation that we're going to discuss today is interval notation, and you may have touched on this in Algebra 2, but you mostly used inequality notation. So interval notation uses either a parentheses or brackets or sometimes one of each. So to know when to use parentheses, we're going to use those anytime that a point on a number line is not included in the set. It's an open dot on the graph, and you'll see symbols such as less than, greater than, infinity, or negative infinity. To use brackets, we use these when the point is included in the set, and that would be shown as a closed dot on a number line graph, and the symbols used are less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. When we write interval notation, notice that we go from the smallest number to the largest number, and there's a comma in between. So let's take a look at a couple of examples. I'm going to show you a number line, and on this number line I'm going to do -4 and 7. 0 would be somewhere in here. And my critical points for this particular problem are going to be at -4 and 7, and x falls somewhere in between here. Notice that I have open dots. That means that -4 and 7 are not included. So we can get up to 6.99999, but not actually 7. So let's take a look at this. The smallest number between my two critical points is the -4, and the largest number is the 7. So we would write it with the -4 first and then the 7. Since we have open dots, open circles on the graph, we need a parentheses on the left and another one on the right. Both of those, the left and right endpoints, are open. So this would be interval notation. X is between -4 and 7. Okay, let's look at one more. And so let's have another line where we have -1 on one side, and I'll just put 0 there for reference. And we have a closed dot, a filled dot this time. And x is going to go to the left. Well, what's on the left? We are headed towards negative infinity. Do we ever get there? Well, no, not really. Negative infinity isn't technically a number, but that's going to give us our second point, because notice interval notation needs two critical points. So we will use negative infinity and -1, sorry. So we would write negative infinity first, because negative infinity is definitely smaller than -1, and then we would write -1. Remember that we always use parentheses when we are talking about positive or negative infinity. So this just by default is a parentheses. And then the -1 has a closed circle. That means that -1 itself is actually included. So we need a bracket there. A little silly but maybe useful thing to use in order to help you remember these is a couple of smiley faces that we've created. So if you have symbols like this, a greater than or less than, on a number line, they are an open point, and in interval notation, you use a parenthesis. So his smiley face is a sideways parenthesis. Let's also give him some infinity-shaped glasses to remind us that infinity goes with this group of symbols. If we have a greater than, less than, or greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, that's got the extra part of that line underneath to say or equal to. So it gets the extra part of a filled dot. And I guess a bracket is also a little extra when compared to a parentheses. So if these help you to remember, please jot those down in your notes.